Well, a picture tells 1,000 words. And with my amazing guest today, she truly does that. And you'll have to take a look at her Instagram after we finish the episode because you will be blown away. My guest this episode is Kat Lynn. She is the owner of Foodie Shots and Sunny and Kat Photography, an award-winning photographer located in the Darling Downs in Queensland, specializing in food and product photography and corporate branding. Kat is on a mission to connect with the world and boost business visibility through compelling imagery. Kat's studio goes beyond ordinary photography, delivering a vibrant mix of artistic flair and strategic branding. With qualifications in graphic design and business, complemented by her extensive experience in the retail and corporate sector, Kat brings a unique perspective on how visuals can dramatically enhance a business's public image and marketing success. Kat's photography isn't just about taking stunning photos, it's about crafting a visual language capturing the essence and identity of a business. Each photo is carefully created not only to entice, but to express the deeper story and values of the brand. So sit back, get ready, and feast your ears on this amazing episode. So welcome, Kat, to this week's episode. I'm so honoured to have you. I know we're going to have a fantastic conversation, but I'm just wondering, Kat, what got you into food photography from the very start?
So for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Foodie Shots. My background is I used to be a graphic designer way back last century. And so I've always had a visual history and creative. And I've always had photography as part of my major when I was doing my degree. And over the years, what I was finding was clients were giving me, let's say, images that didn't do them justice or my designs justice. And I thought, well, let me do that for you. So therefore I can help them even show up more. And just over the years, we dabbled in wedding photography because I've got two businesses. I've got the corporate branding and events, and it used to be weddings. And then I've got Shots, which is predominantly my food and product businesses. And what I was finding, I was always gravitating towards the kitchen. Yeah. Didn't matter where I was, and it'd be like, oh, what are they doing over there? And I think from a design perspective, it's the details. Yeah. So quite often you'll find it is the details that often don't get picked up by photographers. And it is a niche. I actually get some people go, is food photography actually a thing? I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah. And they go, wow. You'll learn why it's so important to me, because it is about honoring the food. It's about, I've always grown up with the veggie garden. Some of my fondest memories is around the family table and having those conversations. It is around when we've traveled overseas. It's about sharing the food with people we don't even understand the language. Yes. But we're forever connected through food. Yeah. So it is a universal language. And I think food cements memories in time, place, and people. So that's why it's so important to me.
Yeah. Look, thank you for sharing that, Kat. And, I know we're going to explore a little bit more about your story and, exactly what Foodie Shots does and yeah, how it is so important. But you're right, that it's got to be the right photograph. And just when you mentioned then about how a photograph and food connects with your memory. And I literally just sat back in my seat thinking, I remember in 1982, I was on a double-decker bus, top deck, traveling Europe, 9 weeks on a double-decker bus by myself. It was pretty cool. And we went to Dubrovnik when it was still Yugoslavia. And I was the cook for that particular day. So I had to go up and, because we all cooked, took turns. And I remember they had these open stall food markets up on top of, the old Dubrovnik city. And there was this lady, and really she looked like she came out of this Hansel and Gretel story. She was all withered and hunched over, and she had all these sticks on her back, it really looked like it was out of a Grimm's fairy tale. And she came up towards me, and she lay in front was eggs, and that's what she was selling. And so I'm there, just this one very young, very slim girl at that time of life, and I'm trying to explain to her why I wanted to buy 3 dozen eggs, because she just kept saying to me, 1 egg. Of course, I don't speak any other language but English. And that moment when you said it connects those memories, that whole time was, and I never even took a photograph. The photograph of her is in my mind.
Yeah.
And it was just that moment I thought, wow, here we are, buying food from each other. Neither one can speak the language. And it was just this, beautiful memory. So thank you. And yeah, as I said, it just took me back as soon as you said that.
But imagine if you had taken that photo, and how you can transcend that, because instead of it being trapped in your brain and your memory, it then can actually help to connect stories and it might inspire others to travel and connect with cultures and ask, and it helps to ignite curiosity, which is very important, especially at the moment with, even more so with our Australian food security. But that's another topic.
But back then it was a little Kodak camera, and you had your 24 little side, and it was the film, and so you really saw the world through your own eyes. And yes, look, I've got lots of photographs, but not compared to the 20,000+ I've now got on my iPhone that I'm constantly looking at. And I traveled not long ago back to America, and I remember thinking, I'm just going to put the phone down. I just want to see the world. But you're right, there are those photographs that you can take, like, be really discerning photographs, instead of taking it of stuff and thinking, where the heck was I when I ate that meal? You've got to picture the meal, but connecting and going, yes, it makes that full story, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think you raise an important point there about, in this very fast-paced world, we are forgetting that we are meant to be observers.
Yes.
And pick your time of when to put the phone down and when just to enjoy that meal or enjoy the conversation, rather than snap, 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 and thinking that that's all you're meant to do. Well, there is a right place. And we're getting off topic, but I did have a conversation with an elder yesterday, and I said, I'd love to come and capture that visually. And then I went, oh, is that okay? Like, sometimes it is not okay to capture it. Maybe it is just the fact that the only way you are meant to absorb or immerse yourself is in the experience.
Yes.
So it is very important to honor the culture that you are in.
Yes, very much so. I'm just looking at that beautiful photograph behind you. That could tell 1,000 stories, couldn't it?
Yeah.
So, we'll get back on to question 2 now. How can hospitality venues use photography to tell a brand story that goes beyond just showcasing the menu? Because it is all about, through your photography, about the story, isn't it?
Yeah, and I often have this conversation with my clients, and because as I said, my background's in design, and when I was going through corporate world, I did a lot of human-centered design, and developing customer journeys. So realistically, yes, clients come to me for photos. But what they certainly quickly realize, it is actually the journey that I take them on, and then the end result is the photos. And so yes, they come to me because they want photos of their menu and that, but in the end, I try to capture the whole business, whether that is the people, it is the customers, it is the vibe, it's the environment. What makes that business different to the other 10,000 other businesses that are the same? Yes. Because there's only, as we say with people, there's only one of me, there's only one of you, and what makes you different to the next person? And I think being able to genuinely connect visually through photography and telling and sharing that story with the wider world, that will connect. You're not meant to connect with everyone. Yeah. You stop trying to be the favorite for everyone. Yes, we all want to make money, and yes, we want to make as much money as we can because of whatever goals we have in life. However, I truly believe if you start to not necessarily niche down, but because niche is such a coined word, I think it is just talk to the people that you want to
Yes.
connect with.
Yeah.
And be real in that. So, and honor that instead of trying to do everything, just
Yes.
the
Yes.
things that light your heart up, and make them the best that you can do. So, I hope that answered the question.
And you are so right. I think as a saying my father used to say, a jack of all trades and master of none. And it's
Yeah.
and it's so true, and that's like it's in business. Oh, I want to help everyone, like, as I said, over 3 decades in business. And I know, Kat, you've been around for quite a while too, as people when they first start the business, I want to help everyone. And you think, yeah, well, great. You're not. You're gonna scatter yourself so thin. And you're right, even you with what you're doing, it's Foodie Shots. And then you've got your other business, but
Yeah.
it's food. It's not taking 1,000 other photos. It's just that. And you become so good at it, and you become authority in that expertise as
Yeah.
well, don't you?
Yeah. And I think you can get to a point where, and that's why I have the conversation. I go, a lot of my food businesses and my product businesses, I go, right, we've captured your beautiful hamburger, we've made it a hero. Now,
Yes.
what about you? And they go, oh, what about me? And I go, well, you created this. You need
Yes.
to tell people about you. But you can't go straight from I'm going to take a photo of you and then your hamburger, because in food, the ego is all in the food.
Yes.
The chefs, the cooks, the producers have put everything into that. So we need to elevate that and put that on the pedestal, and then once that gets going, and then you go, right, now we need to tell it about you, because customers buy from people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
And therefore, that next step, if you want to be a bit more than just a commodity, you
Mm.
need to you need to actually start to build that whole brand.
Yes.
You're not
Yes.
just selling something, you're selling a brand, and then you become a brand. And then
Mm.
when you become a brand, that is valuable,
Yeah.
because no one can take that really from you, I do not believe.
No, no, look,
Yeah.
I agree. And it was, many years ago, people would only associate a brand with a large company, one of
Yeah.
the multi-million-dollar global ones, where as a brand, it's you and I as individuals. We create that brand in business, and then it grows from there. And people not only remember your beautiful photos and your beautiful food
Yeah.
through those photographs, but they remember you. And that's where that connector is. What are the most common mistakes that businesses make when it comes to the food or venue photography? Do you have any practical advice that my audience could immediately apply or avoid? And I know, I've been watching television last night, and there was an ad, there's a chap, he's weightlifting, and he takes the photograph, or his mother's taking the photographs, and then he sees her, she's in the reflection of the mirror. And then it's for the ad is that you can wipe the person.
Yeah.
But I thought, I don't know how many times we've seen photographs, and I know with my venues, particularly in the earlier days when they were doing it themselves, Kat, where they would have, there'd be the reflection of themselves. And I know I've done that before, and all those little things, and that somebody is surely going to pick it up on social media and go, oh, do you know we can see this? And you go, great, thank you. Um, so what
I
are some
think
tips to take the right photograph? Think about it. Yes, like getting people to think about what are they wanting.
I think there's a couple, and I mean there's heaps of things that I can do. However, I think number one, and it's really not necessarily about the actual photo, it's about not showing up,
Oh,
because they think what they do every day is just everyday stuff and no one's going to want to know about it. No, show up,
yes.
because someone else will.
Yeah.
And I think I see it locally. A lot of businesses think that they don't need photos. Like, I have a menu and it's a word menu. And I'm like, because they're relying on the local foot traffic, because they've built up the local word of mouth.
Yeah.
However, consider the tourists.
Mm.
Consider your Google search. People are trying to find out where to go if they're visiting your city.
Mm.
And if, to me, and I'm not sure, and I'm happy to be challenged, but if I don't see photos when I'm doing a Google search, I'll go to the next one.
I agree.
You may have the best menu, you may have a Michelin star, but unless, Michelle told me to go there,
Mm.
if I'm just looking and they don't have photos, I will go to the next one
Yes.
because you obviously don't respect your own business to show up. And
Yeah.
that I know that sounds harsh, but you've got to respect yourself as a business and put yourself out there visually.
Yeah.
Um, I think I think it's lighting from a technical point of view. Lighting is the biggest thing. I know you've asked me to give 3 tips down the track, so I might save those, but lighting is a huge one. And just slow down. I
Yeah.
know you've got service. I know you've got to get it out there. But just slow down, get that special, take some time just to get that right photo, and it will give you more return of investment. I can guarantee it.
Yes, yeah. And it's you're right about lighting. I don't think I know even with photographs and even, setting up for YouTube like this is, having the lamp, it's having everything, just placed in the right way that it illuminates certain things. And certainly with food. And once again, that photograph behind you there, you can see just the shadowing, how the light is just playing
Yeah,
on certain of the beans or whatever they may be there. And you think that it's just
cardamom pods.
what are
Cardamom.
they?
Cardamom pods.
Of cardamom pods, and you can just and then bouncing off that red, and you don't think of it at first, you don't think about the lighting, you just think about the impact, don't you?
Mm.
Mm.
Oh, well,
Well, I
I
mean,
do.
as a person who's just looking, I go, wow, that's
Yeah.
really nice. But now when you've talked about lighting, I'm thinking, oh, now I can see that light is played so beautifully in that photograph. But I'm only the observer, and so you're right. If you don't have photographs of your food, then people just move on because now you've attracted me to that. Yes.
Yeah, and then you've got the wonder of, oh, what else is around there? Oh,
Yeah.
and now, and so if I can just pointing onto that photo there, we're using things like repetition. We're using the way the light hits the textures. We're using shadow and that to create intrigue. And I can just about guarantee when you start to say the words cardamom, aniseed, mustard, paprika, the saliva glands are starting to go because now you're thinking about a butter chicken. You're thinking about a curry. Oh, I'm thinking about India. Oh, when I went to... So it's all these little things. Then you go, okay, now I'm hungry.
Yes.
So which is exactly what we want food photography to do, right? It's either we want that photo to make you go out and buy from that restaurant or involve yourself in making that next recipe. So it's that's what the whole point of a photo is to entice you to go and do something with that. So yeah.
Which reminds me again, during the 1980s, Women's Weekly cookbooks were the thing. Everybody had. And I bought them all, at that stage. I'd moved out of home in the early 80s and, had the unit and of course having dinner parties every week. And I've got them all, particularly the birthday cake ones once I got married and had children are
Three of
fantastic.
them. Three of
Yep.
them.
Got multiple. But it was funny the other day, I was showing them to my daughter. I said, oh, what will we have for Mother's Day? And you look at the photography and you think, gee, I've got one that's the Oriental one. And it's literally like layers of, looks like MSG or plastic on it. And everything's so washed out like the salmon. But at that time, those
Yes.
photographs sold. And why did I buy those? Because I'm not a cook. I'm not a chef. I'm a cook, a basic cook. And as long as I had that picture, I knew I could cook that and that's what it had to look like. And I even buy food now from a company that if they give me the picture and my husband goes, wow, that just looks like the picture. I go, because that's how I cook. I look at that picture and I think that's what
it's a training thing. Yeah,
yes.
that's a training.
Yeah. So your photography, once again, it helps the home cook as well. So what are the most common mistakes? No, I've done that one. What has been your favorite food photo and why? I thought I'm going to throw a couple of these in because there must be some fun times. You've been doing this for a while.
It would be baking, anything to do with baking, right? Because to me, that takes me back to my childhood. I know so many Sunday mornings, Mum would just have the whole dining table full of delights because she'd make up for school lunches, and the house would just be a waft of cocoa, just beautiful coconut. So I think it's anything baking, and because it has so many, you can play with it, it's textures. As long as you got butter, flour, eggs,
Yeah.
You can just about make anything with it, you know, and then add a few extra things in there. So I think I love baking because there's textures, there's crisp, there's savory, there's sweet. It's just, I think that's probably my favorite. Yeah.
Do you think, those early days growing up there when you mentioned about your mother and that baking and just watching you, Kat, you've literally gone back into being in that kitchen and I'm
Yeah.
on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Feel that could have been the start of that journey of wanting to keep those memories and share them with your photography?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Even to the point where it doesn't matter where we, because I'm a defense wife, wherever we went, it did not matter. But the first thing we did was set up a veggie garden.
Right. Wow.
So, you know, even before we got the keys to our house now, our forever house, we didn't have the keys into the house, but we had access. We had signed the contract, so it was ours.
Yes.
That weekend, before we could get the keys on Monday, we built our 8 veggie gardens.
Oh my goodness.
So it was like, nah, it's ours, let's go. So yeah, it's very important to us. And I think that's something that differentiates me from as most other photographers. Like they come to my studio and we have a cooking session where I have a cook in the kitchen preparing the meals and I'm out here in the studio. But you could go into my garden and they could have, you know, whatever they need in there. It could be fresh passion fruit, fresh, you know, lemon balm, fresh whatever.
Yeah.
Which is a different element that you know, it just creates a bit of just a difference to me, to other food photographers.
I wonder how many other wonderful, grateful defence families have moved in after you, multiple over the years, and gone, wow, I wonder who started this vegetable garden. This is so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure they're very grateful. But so that's your favourite food. What about the funniest or perhaps an odd thing or a weird place that you've had to photograph?
Two come to mind. Weird place would be an abattoir.
Oh,
So for a beef feedlot type thing. So imagine trying to get all my studio gear, bags, heavy bags, everything through a washroom because you can't just walk into an abattoir. You have to go through a hygiene room.
Yeah.
You have to put on gum boots and you have to have masks and everything. And I'm trying to carry all my tripods and everything around. That would be the weirdest. And it's cold because you have to keep the meat cold. So you go in with jackets and everything. So that was the weirdest location. But the funniest and the most strange thing that I've actually really enjoyed is chicken giblets.
Oh, okay.
So chicken giblets, when you get them, they have this pearlescence over this membrane over the product. And it was one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever gone. I never thought I'd think chicken giblets were beautiful, but it reminded me of like a PowerShell, you know, that beautiful.
Yes.
So I went. So my client went, I've never heard anyone say that they love my chicken giblets, but anyway.
Yeah, I grew up at a turkey farm, so every so often, we'd behead one and then have to gut it in the laundry sink. And so I am picturing exactly that color that you're meaning, but yes, it's probably it's
unusual. Yes. No, so yes.
I love that. So for regional or boutique hospitality businesses, what visual content works best to attract both locals and tourists? And you mentioned before, for many of them, they're just doing the words on the menu because they're used to the locals or people coming in and waiting to see what's, on display in that cabinet. Hopefully it's all presented nicely. But what is, some ideas for people? Because for many places, they are those destination areas, villages, cities to go to. So your thoughts?
What's lacking at the moment in a lot of places is sincerity. They feel that they just have to put something up. A, that's a waste of your time. B, it doesn't connect. No. And C, it's not sincere. So show up in a way that is honoring the values of your business and actually speaks emotionally. It needs to connect. And if it doesn't make you feel anything, well, don't do it.
Yes.
So I think it's that honesty about, imagine if a cafe had just created this beautiful croissant and it was a sweet one and they're using the local fresh raspberries.
Mm.
Show that and go,
Yeah.
check this. I've just found this hero raspberry. Check this out. This is from such and such, and it's going on our croissants. Take your customers on a journey as well, and they'll want to come with you. So I think it's about that's what I think it is. And regional Australia has such a vault of that information because it is different. Every single regional town is different.
Mm.
Whether it's because of the crops or the course of the local produce that they're at, because of the weather, the differences. Like Australia is vast in its different weather systems that we have. And I think use that to our advantages.
Mm. And we've been hearing that story, that farm to plate, paddock to plate, blah blah blah, for a few years now, and it is
Yeah.
that you can do that even in your small cafe. As you said, these are the raspberries, and we've got a business down here in the Southern Highlands at the What If Society, and the girl does, she has one of the beasts from her sister's farm and she kills that, and then she uses that in her restaurant, and it's all the baking, everything is locally produced, but the hero in her stories is all about that product. And so small businesses can do that, can't they? They can talk about, as you said, this is the raspberry and show it, or having a double yolker when you crack the eggs,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It is, and I think it is that
Yes.
ad hoc approach in some cases. Yes, be consistent in how you show up.
Mm.
And I'm guilty of this as well. I will not just put up something because, I haven't posted.
Yes.
I do take some time, like I did only on the weekend. I did schedule out 18 or so posts, but every single one of those has been then crafted to have a purpose. It has to be either behind the scenes, has to have value to you as a client for education, for tips, whatever, or just something to help inspire, and most of mine are always linked back to a client. I always link back because in my mind, I have to, in some ways, how else can I help my clients in this very volatile industry?
Yes, yeah. And I was saying in the introduction, Kat, to go to your Instagram page, Foodie Shots, because wow, the photos that I've been seeing, it's the last couple of days, I've just, spent a little bit of time on Instagram and I'm thinking, wow, I love that. And then I read the story and I go, yes, it's not just, as you said, it's not just a photo that goes, well, it's the story that goes, oh yeah, that's hitting home. That's hitting something. Just a photograph. So you spoke about your background being a graphic designer. How has that, do you believe that's shaped your business and the approach to food photography and product photography as well?
I think it's integral because to truly understand what my client needs, I need to be able to understand what the web designer is going to need, what the print person's going to need, how are they going to use this image in their marketing? Is it going to have enough negative space for titles? Is it going to have enough area to crop in to get tight? How are they going to use this in multiple ways? Because quite often I'll take a photo, but I've already considered that I need space this way, I need space this way, I need it if they crop in, so that every photo ideally has at least 4 ways of being used. Because every photo we create, it's cost my client money, and I want them to be able to get as much return of investment out of that. So I don't just take pretty photos. They have to have a return of investment. Every photo has to have a purpose. Otherwise, it's just a pretty photo. And
yeah. And look, you're right. It does cost money, but that return on investment in professional photography, where do you see that versus with, people going, oh, just use your smartphone image and wow, you can use that for social media and website. So where do you, how do you say to somebody, yes, sure, you can take your own photographs, but where's the return in investment when you employ somebody who is as amazing as you, Kat, and can make that food and that venue come alive in just a photo?
I'm a photographer. I technically could set up a tripod and take my own branding photos.
Mm.
It will miss the mark
Right.
because regardless of all the technology I have, I know how to get your best branding photos, but to get my best branding photos, I can't take my own photos because I know me too well.
Right.
Right?
Mm.
So conversely, anyone in their own business, realistically, they're too close. They can't see it in a way that it can be elevated. You need that out. Why do you go to a financial advisor? Even accountants need a financial advisor. They know numbers. Like you need people outside of your business to actually help promote you. I actually teach businesses how to take their own photos. You know, I do workshops. I help businesses set up studios so that they can take their own photos. 9 out of 10 times they come back and go, can you just come and do it for me? Right? And that's okay, because we all have to do that journey. And I will not ever say you're wasting your time, because you need to understand yourself why you can't take your own photos.
Yes.
However, the difference between me getting a business to take their own photos for iPhone is valuable, because get me in to take their professional photos, to get their gallery photos, to get their hero shots. I then teach them how to take better photos on their iPhone for that ad hoc. Right. So that when it is going out the servery, when it is that special, when it is that day-to-day photos that have a 24-hour lifespan, those photos still are consistent in terms of their messaging and getting closer to the quality of their hero shots. So there's this continuity of messaging and branding, not this beautiful photos and then, oh my God, it's turning my customers off. And then, oh my God. So I think that's where I try and help clients to bridge the gap between the sessions, because there is a gap.
Yes, yeah. But the way that you're doing it, if I can understand, is that they're actually going to complement each other.
Yes.
It's not going to be this staggering, wow, ooh, wow, ooh, you know.
Yeah. So I teach some of the fundamentals so that they understand that they can use the techniques, the tools that they have at hand to the best of their ability at that time. And then, because I can't be in everyone's back pocket.
No.
It's just, so how can I help them get to that next level, which helps them grow, which then helps them get me back in. So then you start to elevate. So yeah.
Yeah. And you've got that continuity of your brand, particularly on social media, where people look at those photographs, you know, it's that real connection. What are 2 or 3 tips for hospitality owners that they can implement today to instantly level up their online visual presence, Kay?
Yep. So I would say get off that servery metal silver kitchen bench, you know, the kitchen bench. Seriously, that just drives me nuts. Like I feel like I'm eating on a surgical bed. Like, no, that is not appetizing. I think take more photos from the point of view of the consumer, so as though they're sitting down ready to eat. So that sort of just imagine what it looks like sitting down, if that's how you were to present that to the customer. What does it make them feel? So make them feel as though they're sitting in front of your meal now. If it is something that deserves action, like you've got this, you want to hero a homemade ranch that you have, well, dip that wedge in and have the human hand in there, dipping it in and getting it. So if there's motion involved, maybe it is a quick video grab of that motion, because you want people to go, oh my God, I want to taste that now. Pouring the chocolate sauce, you know, all those little things there. How do you want the question to ask is, how do you want your customer to feel when they're eating that? Is it the crunch because of the chip? Is it the juiciness and of that Wagyu piece of steak when they cut in? Like, what is it that you want your customer to feel?
Yes, yeah. And that's right. It's about how do you make them feel, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's getting that feeling when they're looking at the photograph, and then now they're in front of it. And yes, how does that make make you feel. And I think, for many, you sit there and that first mouthful, it's that feeling of, oh, I've done the right thing. I've ordered the right meal. I've come to the right
Yeah,
place. This
exactly.
is
Yeah.
exactly like everything is just connecting. It's like this beautiful jigsaw puzzle that comes from
Mm.
that initial photograph right through to taking that first bite. You've mentioned that you do, you do some training, but how can my audience connect with you, Kat, about, utilizing your services? Not only do it for yourself and learning that way, but yeah, can you share a little bit more about your full offering? And I'll put notes in the show notes. But yes, can you just share with us how we can connect and what we can do with you? Yes.
Obviously through my website, through my Facebook, Instagram to me, I don't know why, I don't know if it's just that I'm old. Instagram to me is just my portfolio type of thing. It's not where I love to engage. I'm old school. I like to get on the phone and actually have a quick chat, so I offer free 15-minute, little chats for those that want to know a bit more. I can share a link tree that gives people the option of how they want to engage with me: website, email, LinkedIn, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I partner with Good Food and Wine and Naturally Good. So if anyone is going to those at the end of May and the beginning of June, I'll be at Naturally Good in Sydney and then Melbourne for Good Food and Wine. So by all means, if you're at one of those, come and say hello. So yeah, I think I'll meet you where you need to be met.
Now,
If it's over wine, over coffee and cake,
love it. And what is your website address, Kat?
So foodieshots.com.au. Yeah.
Perfect. And look, this episode will be out in the next week. So you've got plenty of time, listeners, to book in and get there at the end of May, whether you're in New South Wales or Victoria was the other.
Yes.
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 Yeah. Perfect. Look, I have really enjoyed our conversation and you just sharing your wisdom and knowledge and the importance of creating a memory through that visualization of that food. Is there something that I haven't asked you about your business, Kat, that you would like to share at all?
It's probably something that I don't monetize and I keep being told I really should, but it's tap into what I already know, tap into my networks. I'm a compulsive networker. I have access to so many different industry specialists. So use that. If you have a problem in terms of, I don't know how, I'm stuck here, or you've got an idea or whatever, I have squirrel brain. So I'll go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. So I'm happy to do a strategy session. So it's probably that ability to see things that you may not be able to see and help you get to those next goals.
Oh, that's wonderful. Are you on LinkedIn at all, Kat?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
So
Kat
how will
Lynn
they find you on
photographer.
LinkedIn?
Kat Lynn photographer.
Kat Lynn photographer. That's KATLYN photographer.
Double N.
Double N. Right. So it's KATLYN photographer.
Yes.
Excellent. Look, once again, thank you so much, Kat. I've really enjoyed our conversation. And listeners, get out there, have the opportunity to meet Kat. Go onto her website, pick up that phone and find out what she's got in her squirrel brain that's going to help you and your business achieve your dreams. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time. Yeah.
Thank you.